44 Reasons Why I Hate Tech by Linus Tech Tips. We'll see what he hates about tech, I guess. Anyways, you should also please consider liking and subscribing. We're moving on. We're moving on. We're looking at this.
You know what really grinds my gears? Microsoft single sign-on. Every single time I sign into
Microsoft in general bothers everyone and anyone. Microsoft is literal digital diarrhea. It's just a digital flu. You update something, the fabric of reality starts to get discombobulated. Your laptop, PC, whatever, just explodes. I hate this. I hate Microsoft. I hate you. I hate you. I hate you.
To my Teams account, it asks me, do you want to let your organization manage your device? Do you want to sign in system-wide? No, I don't want to do either of those things. And while I would simply check, don't ask me again, that's not an option. This, my friends, is the kind of obtuse nonsense that makes me want to scream into a pillow, renounce technology altogether, and adopt the simple ways of the Amish. But that would make it really hard to do my job. So instead, we've decided to vent our rage in the best way we know how, by making a sequel. That's right, it's Tech Gripes Part 2 Electric Boogaloo, complete with an angry segue to our sponsor.
Nexigo, they got a ton of stuff on sale until July 18th, like the feature-rich Hello Pro webcam or the Aurora Pro 4K projector at their lowest price since launch. Check out the sale today using our link in the description.
If you're a motherboard manufacturer,
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. We're not buying anything. You know what's gonna really annoy you about tech in general? You know what's gonna really annoy you? Anything that includes RAM, because it's super expensive.
you claim that you have toolless M.2 SSD mounts, that's super cool. But if I have to use a screwdriver to remove a heatsink to get at your toolless mounts, that's not toolless. There are at least 2 tools involved. My screwdriver.
You know what annoys me the most? You buy something, and then you need to open it, no matter what tech it is, and then you look at it, and there's some screws in there that not God knows why they exist. Like, why is there a star there? Why is there some weird form? Why can I not just use a regular screwdriver? Why do I need some obnoxious tool that the mankind has not seen ever, just to look inside what's going on with whatever I want to open? Stop this. Why is there no universal screwdriver? Also 89, 70 USD? What is this? Bro, that's not a bro, if I pay $70 for a screwdriver, that thing better suck my dick.
And the marketing genius who made that claim. I gotta at least give them credit for the effort though. When it comes to PCIe locks, the industry doesn't even seem to care that they suck. Modern graphics cards and CPU coolers are often huge, which can make removing your GPU a legitimately risky operation. See, sometimes the only nearby tool that can reach that release tab is the aforementioned screwdriver. And if you happen to slip off the plastic tab, which is super easy to do, you can gouge your motherboard. My go-to trick then, at least until those little buttons start being a standard feature, rather than a premium feature, is to use a pencil eraser. It's less likely to slip, and if it does, hey, it's not gonna brick your hardware. Probably. And how about case windows? There's plenty of—
Wow, that's so positive. 70 USD screwdriver, nearly 300 Coke bottles. Bro, like I said, if I pay $70 for a USD, that thing better be giving me some action in the bedroom at that point. I could just, bro, that's crazy. It's a good screwdriver. What you would from your screwdriver, bro? That's nah, bro. Nah, bro. That screwdriver better do something. That screwdriver better transform into some woman.
Cases out there with glass panels that show off your sick rig, but woe is he who dares to dream of a PC tower on the left of the monitor. And the funniest thing about this one is that multiple attempts have been made, even by Intel, to standardize this kind of window on the right side of the case witchcraft, and yet there are still very few options out there for our sinistral friends. NVIDIA has changed their model numbering over the years to make it nearly impossible to compare the performance of their desktop cards and their laptop ones, and even made it impossible to compare one laptop to another, even if they have the same model, because performance varies wildly with different power and cooling solutions. Ah!
Windows or Steam or someone other than me needs to stop letting developers just put files wherever the hell they want. All my games should go into a games folder, but no, everyone's gonna put their own stuff wherever the hell they think it should go. Except for me, apparently, because I swear to God, Microsoft.
I have a different gripe. I have a different gripe with Steam. Why do you constantly run in the background when I open up a game? Stop this. Stop this. Even if I don't open up a game, you still run in the background. Even if I close a game, you continue to run in the background for half an eternity. Stop this.
You need to stop automatically saving my shit to OneDrive. Don't ever do it. My files are my files, and it is incredibly important that I know where those files are. Should they be backed up? Absolutely. But I'm not going to back them up to your overpriced, hella slow, confusingly integrated stack of crap that is a cloud service. Yes, of course, offer the service. And of course, we should encourage users to back their files up. But let me specify which folders are backed up, and don't trick me into putting them elsewhere. Also, maybe actually back them up. Now, one would think that they could use the tool called Windows Backup to back up their files. Only one problem. It does not back up Windows. It uploads some files to OneDrive, and that isn't really a true backup. OneDrive is a file sync. When you put files...
So what he's asking for is essentially just a full-on backup of the entire, on all of it, essentially, for all of it. Pretty much.
Also in OneDrive, the original files are on Microsoft servers, and what you have on your device is a copy of those. If you delete the files in your OneDrive, accidentally or otherwise, they are deleted everywhere. That is not how a backup works.
Huh? What? What even? What the fuck? Why even have a backup then? So I delete the backup and then the main source just disappears? Would that also happen if I delete it just in my documents and then like does it appear on also disappear on OneDrive? What is this?
So stop referring to it as a backup service. Sure, for the average person, file sync is akin to backup because you now have 2 copies of your data in 2 locations, and you can access the files at the second location should you lose access to the first. But a true backup will keep a copy of a system and files as it was at a specific point in time. To its credit, OneDrive does provide version history for documents, but when people's data is at stake, Microsoft, you need to be clear that OneDrive is not for backing up files or Windows, it is for synchronization. So why do you call it Windows Backup? And why is it on by default? And why do you never explain anything to the customers about how the service functions, except for maybe how to pay for it, which you're very good at providing ample information about. Plus, you do the intentionally confusing thing of making the folder appear like a local folder, rather than clearly making it a sync folder or a cloud folder. You make it purposefully confusing, and it is causing harm to your own customers. Let's get back to backups though. Why can't you provide me an image creation option? Just let me clone my drive to an external disk and then let me reinstall it when I need to. Why can't you at least provide one good local option where I don't have to use a Microsoft account? No, instead I must install a third-party software because you have refused to provide a half-decent option for simple backups. And you had one. You technically still do. In the control panel, we have the now deprecated backup and restore Windows 7. It works great when it's creating and backing up your files, but it fails to restore my image every time I've tried to use it. And if you can't get your files, then they are not backed up. But let's zoom out here. There's another problem with backup services. What the f do I do when I've backed up my data? Almost all of these services provide a reassuring, your data is safe, but do a poor job of instructing users on how to actually restore that data. And as I said, data that you can't access.
To be fair, that is a general issue. Backup stuff just does not tell you how and what you're supposed to do, and it's just generally, it feels like they're actively making it harder for you to back up your data.
access isn't backed up. I'm gonna be honest, I've made this exact mistake. I put a new install of Windows and realized that I can't access the files I thought I had saved. I think that every backup software should do something to make you run through the process of restoring your files and using a rescue media at least once. Or at least give a very demanding notice that I can click away through and complain about in a future video, but just put it there, please. If you are in search of actually good backup software, I will recommend Veeam, Macroom Reflect, and Your Backup in that order. I personally use Your Backup, but that's because it meets my needs. Check them out and see what they can do for you. Now, before my blood pressure gets too high, I'm gonna have a couple more gripes. This version of the file picker, Gulag. File Explorer's unfathomably slow search, Gulag. The way I can't think of another thing to complain about right now, straight to the Gulag.
I've really been enjoying my Switch 2 over the last couple weeks, even after breaking my hand, but I've been getting more and more pissed off about a few underhanded design decisions that Nintendo thought they could get away with. First off,
Me not being able to use a random dock that you just had because they dropped the firmware update that makes your dock completely useless, and they're actively trying to push for you to only use their own hardware and nothing else.
the dock. Well, the docking situation. The new dock itself is fine. It's the fact that third-party docks that worked with the OG no longer work because, as The Verge put it in their investigation, the new Switch is not behaving like a good USB citizen should. Nintendo has purposefully made their universal serial bus device less universal by adding extra encryption to sell more of their $120 accessory. Right off with that greedy shit. Should be like 50, 60 tops. I ordered the Antac S3 Max for $42.
Like 100 is crazy. It's literally like, I have the original dock. I'm assuming that this dock isn't that much more different. It's literally just a piece of plastic. You drop this once, it's done. Like, it's done. Like, it's literally just plastic. It's 120. Fuck off.
Canadian buckaroos that supposedly works for now, at least until Nintendo updates the firmware to up incompatibility once again. And it's especially infuriating because I can't get the Nintendo dock to work with any other USB-C power blocks in my house. The dock requires more power this time around, but I tried some very nice PD blocks that have variable voltages that go way above the requirement of the dock, and they would only charge the console. I would not get video out until I used Nintendo's own USB block. And that's beside the fact that it's always really scary plugging any non-Nintendo things into Nintendo things. I remember the early Switch 1 horror stories. And that just exacerbates the bigger issue. In general, the first-party accessory pricing is out of control. The controllers are
$40 for the Joy-Con grips. $40? It's just literally just plastic with a little bit of metal in the middle. What do you mean 40? Huh? And almost $90 for the Pro controller. Jeez.
a clear step down versus their competition and cost just as much, if not more. I want to buy your shit, Nintendo. Just not at these prices. This is fucking absurd. Especially because it's become clear that Nintendo has done nothing to address the Joy-Con drift issues. I guess.
Well, and now we rely on Nintendo to fight the AI. Isn't that funny how we now have to support the villain, to support evil, to defeat even greater evil? Sometimes it needs greater evil. It needs evil to destroy greater evil. It appears. It is what it is.
I'll be rolling the dice on third-party accessories once again. But third-party accessories are imperfect. Take the Kill Switch 2 ecosystem, for example. It's really not ideal. Personally, I like the grips. I don't have the Joy-Con self-removal issue. I like the case, I like the cover. But the dock is unacceptably bad. It's a markedly jankier experience than the Nintendo dock alone. My dock is behind my TV, and reaching back there with one hand is easy, but getting both back there fucking sucks. The D-brand to Switch connector is tighter than the dock to dock connector, which means that every time.
That's very seamless, buddy. What is going on here? That's crazy. Total 100 for it. Taxes and delivery. That's horrible.
Time you try and pull out the Switch 2, half of the docking solution comes with it, unless I hold it down. And that's if it fucking works in the first place. I actually bought one and have stopped using it. Other than the Joy-Con grips, I actually like those. They're pretty good for handheld play, except that in handheld play, the motion clarity on the built-in screen, not so great. I think that the online rage is a little overblown with the hyperfixation on some of the numbers that have come out from testing. When you're panning across a busy scene, it's not nearly as clear as a 2025 display should be. This would not have been an issue on an OLED console, which just makes me so mad they didn't have one at launch. Even if that meant giving up variable refresh.
Yeah, but that makes sense. You know why? They can just sell you an OLED version later on, like they did with the regular Switch. It's a strategy, and a smart one at that, because people are gonna buy it.
Rate on a console where most of the games are gonna be locked at 60 FPS anyway, because the dock can't do variable refresh rate. The damn dock again! Ah!
TV dock does support VRR, so why doesn't it work with Switch? Because Nintendo is smart.
Also, the HDMI-C, where your device can communicate with your TV and plugged-in accessories, seems to be inconsistent as all heck. Sometimes turning on my Switch turns on my TV and soundbar, sometimes it doesn't, sometimes it can't figure out the I/O. Unacceptable for a modern device. My PS5 and my PS4, a 12-year-old device, can turn on everything, change the correct settings every freaking time. Figure it out, Nintendo. And maybe the worst part, these game prices are ridiculous. And I'm not talking just versus PC games, but against...
Yeah, I agree. It's a toxic relationship, true. Yeah, I agree. And now remember, most third-party games don't even have physical, not most, but a lot of the third-party releases aren't physical games anymore because they refuse to release smaller cartridges or whatever you want to call them. Very interesting. Well, now they're working on it. Now. But yeah, there's a lot of games now out there that you can't play because, like, that you won't be able to play in a few years because, well, you can't access them anymore because you don't have internet. And don't get me started on the game key cards, where they were like saying, oh yeah, the game key cards, they're so great, you can still resell it as long as I have the Nintendo Switch servers online. After that, they're essentially useless, which is really interesting. Like, you just have the physical copy of the game and a glorified download code on there, but you can't use it because, well, you can't download it.
Other console storefronts. Totally frustrating. And not just the $80 games. I want to play the Xenoblade trilogy with the DLC. I have to spend like $200, and that's the fucking sale price.
I got them almost all at full price, pretty much, which was very painful. But yeah, remember devs calling out Silksong for being so cheap, but once Nintendo went $80, no one bats an eye, so they price matched them. Somebody who works in like game development already said, $100 games will happen. $100 will happen. It's just nobody who has the balls to actually do it.
If I want to play the trash golf and tennis game that nobody thinks is actually good, I'm stuck spending $60, maybe $55 if I'm willing to go for a used cartridge. But like, the used market is absolutely fucking trash too. Switch games are ridiculous. This whole thing is fucking ridiculous. I have like a list of games that I missed on the Switch 1 that I really want to collect, but I'm losing confidence that I'm gonna ever own most of them. Also, get some damn media apps on your fucking console. It's 2025, for fuck's sake.
Just because I own a display, that doesn't mean I love everything about it.
To be fair, I don't care about that. I legit don't care about that. I'm gonna be so honest. I don't care about that. About the media apps, like, for real. I don't care that YouTube, Twitch, whatever, like those things. Amazon Prime, Netflix. Because, like, at this point, most people have a smart TV. Like, it doesn't matter. It legit doesn't matter. I don't feel like that's a big deal. Like, most have a smart TV.
Them. For instance, have you ever struggled with navigating through the OSD, found the setting you wanted to adjust, and then pressed the power button by mistake? Or maybe a button that closes the OSD. I sure have, and it absolutely sucks. But hang on, OSD, because I'm not done with you yet. Why is it that some companies make it a hassle to switch inputs when there's nothing connected? I know HDMI 1 is empty. I don't care. I'm troubleshooting. Let me select it. And why doesn't everyone have an option to leave the OSD on screen instead of keeping it on a timer? This is probably a me problem, but sometimes it goes away right when I'm done referencing my notes to remember which exact setting I wanted to adjust. I'm also annoyed by barrel plugs and external power bricks. If you're gonna use them, that's fine. Some people prefer them even.
It's just really frustrating sometimes. You just wanna click something just to troubleshoot, right? You really just wanna switch inputs. It just doesn't allow you to. Unless we've had on TV before, like the input did not show up unless you had something plugged in. Diabolical.
But please, make the cable longer so the brick can easily sit on the floor.
That's another one! That's another one! Cables aren't long enough. And while we're at it, why am I buying a new phone and there's no charger with it? Like, fuck off. It's just frustrating. Stop. And it's low quality nowadays. Those bricks, the bricks.
And not be stuck dangling from the back of my display. I shouldn't be required to cable manage it to the underside of my desk with MCM from LTTstore.com. I'm going to anyway because it looks great and it's a good product.
Why do they have this many sponsors? That's kind of crazy.
But don't force my hand. And speaking of cables, how about HDMI and DisplayPort? Why do we still have both? I get the competition is a good thing, but they're both so similar now. I love the daisy chaining capabilities of DP, but eARC and auto low latency mode are really nice features for home theaters, especially now that recent versions on either side have pretty high bandwidth limits. With more on the way, either combine your powers or convince GPU manufacturers to please add more HDMI ports for the rare occasion where I want to use HDMI 2.1 on more than one display. I mean, hey, what if one of them's a TV and the other one is just a really high refresh rate monitor that supports HDMI 2.1 but DisplayPort 1.4? Why can't I have both? I don't want to spend even more money on a high-end ASUS GPU just because it's got a second HDMI port. I really don't. And on that subject, can someone implement a sort of HDMI signal interrupter? Or if I'm ignorant, please help me in the comments, because keeping a TV plugged in as part of your multi-monitor setup can cause some serious annoyances if the TV gets turned on.
That's diabolical. That's diabolical.
For Netflix while I'm gaming on my PC. It's so annoying that I just unplug the cable on either end when I'm done playing on the big screen, and I just don't want to do that anymore.
For me, I'm going to be talking about my beloved Discord. Man, you used to be
Discord, to shut it down. To shut it down. That's my problem with Discord. Shut it down. Just end it. Just end it.
so great. You were a free-to-use amalgamation of RSS chat rooms and voice calling with just a slight gaming flavor. It used to be so good.
And a few servers with degenerate shit. Yeah. Can't even report people properly because they don't have a reporting feature.
But now, you are constantly shoving Nitro and your shop down my throat. Those are permanently pinned at the top of the software anytime I go look at my DMs. Or when I use an emoji, you are constantly reminding me how poor I am because I could use any emote from any server if I just paid more. I can type as much as I want, so long as it's less than 2,000 characters. You gotta pay for that too.
And you can't really send around files because they're too big.
Two, you've gone from adding value to extracting convenience, and now Nitro sucks. And while we get update after update, my problems never seem to get fixed. Every time I restart some systems, such as my
Because it feels like when they're updating, it doesn't feel like they're updating anything. It feels like whatever they're doing doesn't seem to update anything.
work PC, it asks me if I want to adjust my audio devices. Nope.
And the funny part is, right, you open it, you close it, it doesn't close. It will run in the background until you manually close that shit. It is frustrating as hell. I hate it.
Keep them to what I set, please. I have no idea why you keep asking me, especially after I hit the "Don't show me this again" button. As for the UI update, I actually don't personally hate it, but some of the mobile experience is just downright awful. I went to use an external link the other day, and it asked if I was okay following it. That's fair enough, keep users safe. But what the hell is this interface? I didn't even realize that I had to actually scroll down because the scroll bar doesn't light up until I try to scroll. But there's nothing slightly cut off in the window to indicate that there is more to view. So why would I even bother trying that? But my biggest issue with Discord is something that I don't actually expect them to fix, because it's not really their fault. Discord servers are a terrible way to store knowledge. If you make a piece of software and you use Discord instead of a Git or
Oh dear, gorgeous, you fucking donkey. Well, fandom has a different reason though. Fandom has a different problem. That is that it's flooded by, first of all, it's incredibly flooded by ads. Like, it is ad hell to the point where a lot of fandoms just said, you know what, we're making our own Wikipedia at this point because this shit is horrendous. And also, a lot of lore gets changed. I've noticed that when I played a few games and I want to read up some lore, I noticed that, wait a minute, I read it and I was like, wait a minute, this doesn't line up with the original source material. This isn't the original source material. This is some ideologue just forcing their agenda in there. Or gender. It is diabolical. That platform is diabolical because any fuck-ass retard can just do what they want. It is horrible.
a wiki, you're an idiot. Plain and simple. So much knowledge is being lost in these Discord servers that are unindexable, hard to use, and have communities that end up being the same 3 people just answering the same 20 questions for every new user. Discord is not documentation, and the more we migrate our communication away from public forums, the worse we're gonna be in a few more years.
Okay, we probably went a little hard today, but can you blame us when you're having a bad day?
You can't, nah. Some of this shit is genuinely avoidable, but they just refuse. It's weird.
The last thing that you want to deal with is some easily solved problem that you've encountered a million times before. I mean, maybe there's a good reason for some of it. I don't know. But what I do know is there will always be something to complain about when it comes to technology, and I am always gonna segue to our sponsor.
Nexigo. Prime Day may be over by now, but Nexigo's still got deals on deck until July 18th. Check out their 4K projectors like the powerful...
Yeah, I just have money for that. Yeah, 1.3K?
but portable Tri-Vision Ultra, or the feature-rich Aurora Pro at the lowest price since launch, both of which are great solutions for those summer movies under the stars or inside your home. They've both got support for Dolby Vision and a 120Hz refresh rate, so you'll get crisp and clear visuals. And if you want the best of the best, their top-of-the-line Aurora Pro...
Who are they getting the sponsors for? Ain't nobody in their audience being able to pay for that.
Mark II is also on sale, and you can even get a bundle that includes a Fresnel screen for up to 35%
Another 3,000!
off. Plus, for those going back to school or just looking to upgrade their video conferencing or basic streaming setup, it's a great...
Yeah, I'm good. I don't want to see this. They make me feel poor. I am poor, but I don't want to feel it that way. Interesting. So basically, summarized, tech problems that could be solved with minimal changes. They just refuse to because they hate us. They just hate us. Anyways, like, comment, and subscribe.